Hello, basketball fans. It's me, DC, here for Fantasy Basketball Analyzer. And we're here to get ready for the week 4 of the NBA season. Help you set your fantasy lineups. We're going to break down the schedule, talk about defensive efficiency, pace of play, back-to-backs, all the things we do. This video is coming out on Friday this time. I'm going to try and start moving up the schedule now, get this a little bit earlier to you, try and help out. Also, with the schedule change, we're joined by a dog in the studio. What's up, Jarvis? Yeah, he's just looking at me. Not sure why I'm recording. There he is. See, he's real. He's moving. All right. Without further ado, let's get into the week 4. Let's take a look back at the pace and defensive efficiency. 3 weeks in, things are starting to shape out now for us. We have some changes for pace. Houston and Utah dropped out of the top. They're down actually near the bottom, just for the pace itself. For defense, this gets a little interesting. The best rated defense right now is Golden State, which surprises me a little bit. Not that they haven't been better, but it's still a bit of a surprise. The best other 4, though, Miami, Utah, Denver, and then sneaking in Chicago. I kind of believe that. I don't know if Chicago can stay all the time, but their defense is vastly improved from last season. So it wouldn't shock me if they're hanging around. Plus, their pace isn't crazy fast, so they might be one of those teams that we don't want to play, which is a big swing from last year. For the worst defenses right now, Memphis is up there, which surprised me a little bit. And Orlando, not that Orlando is great, but they do have good defenders. So I'm a little surprised there. But Detroit, New Orleans, OKC, like the other people still in that group, that makes a bit more sense to me. Charlotte. Anyway, so that gives our overall averages, right? The teams we want to face most. Memphis, Charlotte, New Orleans, Sacramento, Orlando. Sounds pretty good. And teams we want to stay away from, Miami, Utah, Philly, Boston, and Phoenix. I want to mention Boston and Phoenix because last week they were up at the top as teams we wanted to face, and they've dropped back down. You know, there's probably more somewhere in the middle, but this feels closer to true, if anything, but we'll see. All right, let's take these numbers and apply it to our weekly preview. So this is what the schedule looks like for this week. It should jump out at you. We got 2 games for Orlando and Washington. So that's not great. 16 of the teams play 4 games. So more than half the league has 4 games. A couple have 2. I guess it's a pretty even split. But overall, you really want to have your guys with 4-game weeks. And we'll get into this more, but the ideal schedule for this week is looking like the Clippers. I mean, they have to play Miami and Chicago, which isn't necessarily great. But the way their games fall for the days of play, the Clippers are the streaming team to go after. You can go ahead and look at the rest of this if you want to use it for matchups and stuff like that. I still don't want to weight it too heavily because we still have a pretty small sample size, but it's getting better. We are getting a sense now, number-wise. They're starting to match kind of the eye test of the better defenses and, you know, slower teams that might be harder to get some fantasy points on. One quick note before we move on. Take a look at San Antonio. They've only got 3 games this week. They're all in the latter half of the week. And then they only have 2 games next week. So the Spurs aren't going to be great pickups for you. You could use them maybe in that cluster, although their games don't fall on great days. But anyone you pick up there, if you're just trying to stream them, you're not really going to be able to use them for next week. So you can use that to kind of split some hairs if you're trying to use your pickups. Swapping over to the back-to-backs, let's point out real quick that Atlanta and Philly are the only 2 teams with a back-to-back to start the week. So if you're looking to minimize your moves, you can pick those guys up to start off the week. But there are a bunch of teams rolling in. So I'm doing this video earlier. It's Friday. That gives you a little time for the weekend to consider these things. So Brooklyn, Charlotte, Golden State, New York, and Phoenix. Sorry, not Phoenix. Sacramento plays Phoenix. They all have a back-to-back Sunday into Monday. So depending on how you're looking right now, if you pick some guys up, just kind of push it, you might be able to hang on and roll them in. Monday has 8 games, so it's possible you could use them as streaming, right? It's just over the quality game limit, but it's right there in that range. Speaking of in that range, the end of the week when there's 2 7-game days, so they're quality games, most likely they're heavy, but you can still probably get people in there. The only team with a back-to-back is the Clippers. That's why I keep talking about them for this video. They play Minnesota and Chicago, so if you pick someone up or plan to pick them up for the end of the week, you can get them in there. Although if there's any Clippers players on your waiver wire that you think is worth streaming, they're going to be valuable all week long. In fact, the Clippers play Charlotte this Sunday, so the end of week 3, and then they get the 4-game week all on streaming days. I'm already saying it before we're looking at streaming. So they really are the ideal pickup. If you want to pick them up, say Saturday night after the game, some Clippers players, You're going to get to hang out with them. You're going to get a bunch of bang for your buck. You don't have to do a lot of moves. Before we move on, let's quickly touch on any people who sometimes sit on back-to-back, so we got to look out for. Horford, who's been on my tracking, he missed the first back-to-back, but he had just returned from like injury or COVID absence or whatever it was that had him out. He did play back-to-back this week on the 3rd and the 4th, so that's going well. We'll keep tracking him because he traditionally has it. Westbrook hasn't missed any back-to-backs yet. Embiid hasn't missed a back-to-back, but he did miss a game. It's Embiid, he's kind of erratically going to miss games. They have to monitor his health. That's how his career is now. And Kemba hasn't had the opportunity to play back-to-backs yet. If there's anyone you notice that's missing back-to-backs, let me know. I'll keep him on the week. I try and stay on top of this, but it's going to matter because it's easy to look at, oh, I get 2 games in a row, but someone's going to drop out of one of them unexpectedly. We want to stay on top of that. Let's go ahead and look at the streaming schedule. So it's a pretty good week for streaming. I kind of already touched on it. Tuesday, there's 3 games. Thursday, there's 3 games. Saturday, Sunday is 7. And Monday's kind of on the fence with 8 games, right? So the best team is the Clippers. Portland, Miami, Minnesota, Chicago, all on the lowest volume days. Really what you want is to avoid, for your streaming pickups, anyone who's playing on Wednesday or Friday with 13 or 11 games. There's almost no chance someone who's on the waiver wire right now that's just, oh, maybe I'll get some points from them, that they're going to really crack your lineup when there's 13 or 11 games, right? Monday's got 8 games, so maybe you can get them in there. So Clippers being the best choice. Next runner-up, Miami. They've got 2 definite streaming days, and that game against Denver probably works. Philly, 3 streaming days, and the game against the Knicks on Monday probably works. And then Utah. They've only got a 3-game week, so it's not great, but all 3 are on the low-volume days, and they get Atlanta, Indiana, Miami. So those 4 teams are who I would target for the streaming. There's a lot of teams that are playing on Sunday that you could probably work in, and we'll do this video early again next week. At least that's the current schedule plan. And kind of give you a jump on it, so maybe you can pick up someone, get them in there for Sunday, and carry them over into next week, like I'm recommending you do right now with Clippers players. Get you that little edge. Otherwise, you can take a look at this. The link is always down below for you to take a look at. I'll be back this weekend to go over the waiver wire way more in depth, but if you got questions about who you want to pick up, you're looking ahead, go ahead and leave it now. This was a quick one. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, share on social media, and go out and win your week. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it this far, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below. It helps me grow the channel. If you want more videos like this, hit subscribe or even the little bell will give you alerts. And I'll be back soon with another video for you.